Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with another episode of the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus series from Marvel Studios, and we are now at the halfway point of this season. So episode 3, there's going to be 6 episodes, of course, and this show continues to be excellent. I mean, it's just a whole lot of fun. I would say it's probably not as good as episode 2 because I just loved episode 2 so much, but still, this was a great episode. It really does a lot to progress this story forward, setting up our villains, revealing just more about this bangle, where it came from, its connections to Kamala's family. There's a lot of cool stuff going on here, and I'm really excited to see how everything ties up here and how we actually see Kamala's final transformation from Nightlight to officially Ms. Marvel. So, really excited for that. But for now, guys, of course, spoiler warning, if you have not yet seen this episode, make sure to go check out Ms. Marvel Episode 3 on Disney+. But for now, let's go ahead and jump into this and break down the episode. So the episode begins with actually a flashback to 1942 in the middle of the Indian partition. So we have Najma, who is actually the character that we've been seeing in these visions, specifically in last episode, and that Kamala actually meets at the end of episode 2. And so we get to catch up with her in this flashback. And so she finds the bangle attached to this severed arm, and it seems like the arm is like actually blue. So it's really interesting why that arm is blue, if that is maybe like an alien race, possibly even the Kree, because we know many of the Kree are blue, so there could be some sort of connection here, and that could tie things back into Captain Marvel, since we know Kamala is going to be in the Marvels, aka Captain Marvel 2, so that would be pretty cool. Or it could just be like coincidentally like, oh, it's just a blue arm and really has no importance. But anyway, Najma finds this bangle, and according to legend, though, there's 2 of them. So they can't find the second one because they know that the British have already been there, so they kind of just assume, one is good enough. We also have Aisha there, who of course is Kamala's grandmother, or actually great-grandmother, so it would be her mother's grandmother, that she's been hearing so much about the one that just went missing that night. So she is the one that actually puts on the bangle. She gets a very similar moment to what we saw in episode 1 with Kamala getting her powers and first putting on the bangle as well. But then all of a sudden the cave starts to crumble, and so Najma and Aisha, they split up, and Najma, now in present day, she and the rest of the survivors of the partition are telling Kamala this whole story, and she kind of explains that, like, that is the last time they ever saw Aisha. So they have no idea what happened to her, but I have a feeling that, if they're still alive, there's a very good chance that she may still be alive as well, and may even come to the rescue in this final couple episodes. I think that'd be pretty cool. But like I said, we have these survivors are all telling their story. Turns out that they are the Clandestines, which is actually a group of characters from the comics, very similar. They're from another dimension. They've been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And, they kind of say, like, oh, we've been known as many different names, like genies and also Jinn, which, of course, Kamala in her culture has been hearing about in, like, her nightmares and stuff, of like, oh, Jinn, it's these crazy genies and, like, really, bad juju and all that stuff. So, she's kind of disturbed by that, like, oh great, I'm literally the thing of my nightmares growing up. But the Clandestines, they need her help with the bangle to actually send them home, because they need to finish what Aisha started all those years ago and finally get them back home to their dimension. And at first it's seeming all innocent, but later we find out it's not so innocent. They have more ulterior motives here. But Kamala at first does genuinely want to help them, so she tells Bruno all about this and says that she needs his help. And I love how he actually references a paper by Dr. Eric Selvig, which of course is the scientist played by Stellan Skarsgård, who we of course saw in the first 2 Thor movies as well as the first Avengers movie. Actually Age of Ultron as well. So he used to be a pretty big role in the MCU. I'd love to see him make a return one day, but I like to see that we're still getting references to him here and there. We got a a mention, or at least a display screen in the back of Avengers Endgame that he blipped away. We got, I believe in Spider-Man No Way Home, there was a shot of when Peter was on the plane. He was looking at the different movies. There was like a documentary about Eric Selvig. So cool that to see that we're still keeping his presence alive in the MCU, since he had such an important role back in the day. But again, it would be awesome if we actually got to see him make a comeback and return to the MCU one day, especially considering we just saw Darcy make a return. So bring back Dr. Eric Selvig. But after this, we find out that actually Nakia won the election and she's now officially a board member. So go Nakia, that's great for her. But then we also have Bruno actually making Kamala a domino mask, which is of course what we know she's going to eventually wear when she suits up as Ms. Marvel. So that's really cool that she's starting to kind of get the pieces together of this outfit to become her own superhero. Now, the big location of this episode is the wedding. So we get to see Amir and Taisha finally get married. So we have their whole wedding here. I love how we have the Bon Jovi ripoff with Brown Jovi. That was honestly hilarious. And actually how we get to hear the Bon Jovi song played later, Living on a Prayer, during our fight/chase scene. So that was a lot of fun as well. But before we get to that, we do have actually when they first start playing, it's kind of a slow song. And Kamala asks Bruno, like, oh, do you want to dance? And of course, Bruno, we know he has a huge crush on her. She is completely oblivious of that. But she's like, oh, we could just dance as friends, basically. And just as Bruno is about to get his moment, of course, Kamran shows up. And he has to warn her, which, I mean, good that he did. So he warns Kamala that, A, the Clandestines, they're not so nice. They're actually, this is super dangerous, and they're after you. So then they actually show up. So Kamala has to pull the fire alarm and evacuate everybody. So we get a little bit of a fight/chase scene here, like I said before, again with Living on a Prayer playing, so that was great. And this is where I start to lose interest a little bit, just because I feel like what I've loved so much about this show so far is that it's, it's a superhero show, but it doesn't feel like a superhero show. Like, we haven't had that much superhero stuff going on here, but now that we actually have, our superhero fighting bad guys, especially, such basic mercenary type characters, it wasn't that cool to me, but hopefully we'll get some more cooler stuff with that. Maybe they'll get their own outfits, or maybe they have their powers or something like that. I'm not sure, but we'll see in the coming weeks. But anyway, at the end of this battle, the Clandestine kind of all surround and corner Kamala, and this is where Najma shows Kamala another vision, this time of a train coming towards them. And I have no idea what this train could mean. It could possibly be that train that Kamala recently found out her grandmother quickly made her way back to after she, during the night of the partition, we heard the whole story in episode 2, that she got lost, but then she followed the stars to find her way back to her father on the train or something like that. So that could be what we're alluding to here, and could of course be what sets up the ending of this episode. But first, Damage Control shows up. They come in, they capture all the Clandestine, including Kamran. So that is not very good at all, especially considering that he just turned against his family and the Clandestines. So we'll see how that goes, especially if we see maybe if he has powers as well, because he does in the comics. He's actually also inhuman. So that'll be interesting to see. But after this, Bruno and Kamala are able to escape to safety, and this is where Nakia actually finds out that, hey, Kamala has powers, she is Nightlight, and of course, it's the typical, at first, like, she's super annoyed about this, like, you didn't tell me, you were hiding this from me the whole time. And to be fair, Kamala did try to tell her earlier, she was just, didn't really give her the chance. But anyway, now she knows, and our ending to this episode is Kamala's grandmother, her nanny, calls her and says that she and her mother must come to Karachi, and because she saw that train as well. Now, I'm not sure what this means though, why she saw it also, because, I mean, again, it could be connecting to her past and how she made it back to her father on the train. But why did she see it when Kamala and Najma saw it as well? Is it like all of these people with the powers, or at least all of these people in the family or that are connected to the bangle in this bloodline are kind of connected in a way that they all see these visions at the same time? And if that's the case, then wouldn't Kamala's mother have seen as well, because she's mentioned the whole daydreaming, fantasizing thing, and, you know, trying to want to get away from that and everything. So I'm assuming next episode we're going to be going to Karachi. I'll be really interested to see how and why Kamala's mother actually lets her go and possibly even goes with her. So that's something I'm really excited to see. Probably one of the things I'm most excited to see is Kamala's mother's perspective on this, because clearly she knows something. So I'm really, really interested to find out what she knows, why she's so against it, and hopefully see her come to a turnaround and accept her daughter and her powers. But for now, guys, that was Ms. Marvel episode 3 on Disney+. Again, a really fun episode, really progressing our story forward. We're halfway there, halfway through the season, 3 more weeks, 3 more episodes. Super excited to see where the show goes. It's definitely been one of my favorites of the MCU Disney Plus series. Then again, I love all of them. But for now, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about Ms. Marvel episode 3 on Disney Plus? So guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I keep up to date on everything goes on in the Marvel life.